All right, let's get into a story today that's a little different. It's about a connection that doesn't start with a lightning bolt, but with a quiet offer of help, and it grows into something no one could have ever seen coming. It's a story about how love can find a way to bloom in the most unlikely places.
So right from the start, we're dropped into the world of a young woman named Isabella. And these words, they just perfectly capture the heavy weight she's carrying. Her life is one of complete solitude, where just getting through the day is a victory.
So let's really paint a clearer picture of this hardship, no pun intended. Because to understand the incredible change that's about to happen, you first have to see just how stark and lonely her world really is. I mean, just look at these facts. She's only 25, but she is completely and utterly alone. Her whole world fits inside one tiny room. Her possessions are just the bare minimum. Her food is whatever she can afford. This isn't just about being poor. It's about a deep, crushing isolation.
And then, out of nowhere, one simple moment changes the entire course of her life. An older man, Edward, shows up. He doesn't do much. He just stands there, watching her paint with his kind smile. And that quiet, simple act, that's the spark.
And this wasn't just some random one-time thing. It was actually the beginning of a pattern, a series of small kindnesses that would lead to an offer she could never have imagined.
It started so small, didn't it? First, a cup of tea, probably just to warm her hands. The next day, he brings bread with it, noticing she was hungry. Then little flowers from his own garden. What's so important here is the consistency. These small, reliable acts of kindness, they build trust in a way that big, flashy gestures just can't. He was showing her she could count on him.
And then he finally puts words to his actions. And they're powerful words. It's not about pity. He says, "I see you." Now, for someone who has felt completely invisible their entire life, can you imagine hearing that? It might be the most important thing anyone has ever said to her.
So after building this routine, this quiet trust, he does something different. He hands her a letter. And you can just feel her anxiety, can't you? When you've never known kindness, kindness without an obvious reason they can be terrifying. What could he possibly want from her?
And what's in the letter? Well, it's not a love note. It's a proposal. But it's a very practical one. It's an arrangement. He'll take care of everything, food, rent, security, and in exchange, she becomes his wife. It's basically a contract.
And this is the impossible question she's left with. Is this some kind of profound act of love, or is it a transaction? A deal that might cost her the very little freedom she has left. It's a choice between the miserable life she knows and a future she can't even begin to comprehend. Well, she makes her choice, and that brings us to the next chapter of their story. The strange new reality of a life built on a promise between two people who barely know each other.
She says yes, but just look at how their marriage begins. There's no celebration, no friends, no music. It's just as stark and practical as the letter that started it all. A quiet promise made in a quiet room.
And the shift in her life is just dramatic. This slide really lays it out. She goes from a cold, empty room to a warm home filled with books, from hunger to warm food, from crushing loneliness to quiet companionship. So on the outside, her world is saved. But what about on the inside?
Of course, just as she starts to find her footing, the outside world starts to close in. The judgment from the townspeople adds this whole other layer of pressure. They only see the transaction, and their whispers just echo her own deepest fears about the whole arrangement. But this is where the story really takes a turn, because it's in the quiet moments, away from all those judging eyes, that their deal starts to transform into something real. Look at how this bond actually gets built. It's not through romance and poetry. It's through small, consistent acts of pure respect. He gives her space, he shares his love of books with her. Slowly they start to share stories about themselves. And this part is so crucial. She starts to feel safe. Safety and respect, that's the soil that allows real affection to grow. She stops feeling like a guest and starts feeling like maybe this is home.
And this moment right here, this is pivotal. When the whole world is judging her, he becomes her defender. He doesn't just dismiss the gossip, he affirms who she is. He tells her that their words don't matter because he sees the real her. For Isabella, that validation is absolutely everything.
So after all this time building this quiet foundation of trust,
He finally asks the one question that's been hanging in the air between them. Not, do you have everything you need, but are you happy? He truly cares about her emotional well-being, not just her physical comfort.
And her answer is just so beautifully honest. She doesn't lie. She acknowledges why she did it. I married for money. But then she says this incredible thing, but now I stay because I want to. It's not about need anymore. It's about desire. It's her choice now, and it's a choice made freely.
And right after that admission, they share their first kiss. And it isn't fiery or passionate or demanding, it's just soft and warm, a perfect reflection of the gentle, real affection that has slowly, patiently grown between them.
Then, the tables turn. He, the one who was her caretaker, suddenly becomes the one who needs care. And as she looks after him, terrified of losing him, all of her feelings finally crystallize into something she can't hold back anymore, something she finally has the courage to say.
And there it is. The words are finally spoken. She whispers, "I love you." And he looks back at her with tears in his eyes and says it back. The contract is officially over. The arrangement has blossomed into a real, mutual, heartfelt love.
This final exchange just captures the beauty of their relationship perfectly. He feels like she saved him. She knows he saved her. But he smiles and says the real truth. Maybe we saved each other. He saved her from poverty, sure, but she saved him from a lonely life. They filled the empty spaces in each other's worlds.
And so, their story leaves us with this powerful question. It really challenges our ideas of what romance is supposed to look like, doesn't it? It asks us to wonder if the deepest, most genuine connections can sometimes grow from the most practical beginnings, and that maybe kindness and respect can build a love just as true as any other.